It's time for a mega-sized indie showcase from Next Fest of June 2025. We played a whole lot of games on the final official night of it, and there are some fantastic indie games worth your time. We're getting things really started with some action with Neon Inferno. This is an arcade-style run-and-gun with some gorgeous classic art to go with it. It is a cyberpunk future and you are a hitman, and you must brave your way through the streets, killing anything that gets in the way of your target. Now, as you can probably tell from the footage, the unique aspect of Neon Inferno is that you are able to not only shoot side to side, but also attack into the background. Such as, I think with some of the older run-and-guns that the names are escaping me at the moment. You have your shot, you have a dodge, and you also have kind of like a melee that can parry or reflect bullets. When you have enough meter, you can also parry a bullet and then aim it at an enemy or aim it at other things on screen. This game is definitely boasting a lot of challenge. A lot of the combat in this one is going to be with enemies with mostly fixed patterns, but they can attack very fast. There are multiple difficulties, going from kind of easy story mode all the way to 1 credit clear challenge arcade. And this one looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. If you are a run and gun fan, it is a very easy recommendation to check this one out. I do believe there is going to be co-op to it as well, and I am really looking forward to trying more of this one when it is released. We now switch over to Vampire's Best Friend. While the screenshots and the store page made this look like to be a very kid-friendly, fun-filled Metroidvania adventure, this is a brutally difficult game that puts our last game to shame. You play the vampire's best friend, who is, well, a bat. When some nasty vampire hunters trap her in a coffin with garlic all over her castle, you must fly around and gather it all to free her. The challenge is that your bat here has a limited amount of energy. If you do not recharge by touching a flat ceiling or flat surface, you will fall to the ground and you will quote-unquote have to die, or you'll go back to a checkpoint. What makes this one very challenging is that you're dealing with kind of similar physics of like a Flappy Bird, where your momentum is going to be dictated by how fast and how often you flap your wings. So if you do it too fast, you can easily go too far up and bang into something. Go too slow and you won't have enough momentum to get to the next save point. The kind of saving grace that stops us from being too rage-filled is that the game checkpoints very readily. Anytime you touch a ceiling, that becomes your new checkpoint in a room. And anything that you've gathered up until that point stays, basically persists. So your challenge is going to be trying to figure out how to get around, collect all the garlic, and hopefully get from point A to point B. I do not know if there are going to be additional upgrades or powers or stuff like that in the main game. And it's a very charming and, again, very challenging platform. I cannot stress that enough. A lot of the difficulty is going to be the fact that you really have to do some of these maneuvers in one go. You just simply do not have enough power in order to compensate or adjust. So, very interesting take for sure. If you are in the mood for a very challenging platformer and aren't easily frustrated, I would give this one a try. And now we go to the next game from the developers of Hyper Light Drifter with Possessors. A demon apocalypse has come, and we have bonded to one such demon in order to find our family and figure out what is happening. And we're going to be going on a very action-filled Metroidvania to do so. If you've played any Metroidvania in the past 20 years, then you should be very familiar with the basics. You're going to be running left, right, doing some jumping, and fighting your way through enemies in order to get upgrades. You'll be able to attach modifiers and kind of relics to your weapons in order to give them additional properties. You can also, by spending currency, get more slots to add to a weapon, thereby giving it more abilities and so on. you'll get access to kind of special abilities that will allow you to use for both combat and movement, such as your kind of grapple, that you can use a grapple hook to swing and climb up, or pull enemies closer to you in order to keep engaging them. The basics here are solid, but the demo felt very slow. It took a very long time to start getting some very useful abilities, such as being able to parry enemy attacks, and just like change things up. There's just a lot of moving around nondescript hallways that I was doing in this one, and they're definitely going for kind of quantity over quality in terms of the environmental designs. While the developers have a unique look and aesthetic to their games, it does kind of hurt things a little bit here, that I had some trouble sometimes determining what is foreground and what is background because of how stylized everything looks. Still, the combat felt solid, and there is some potential here for fans looking for a combat-centric Metroidvania. So, while you are still waiting for the minutes and hours of any announcement of Silksong, I would give this demo a try, and I am interested to see where things will go in the main game. We now turn to Sping, a physics grappling platformer or puzzle game. You're not going to be doing too much jumping in this one, as it's all about using swinging and kind of swing physics in order to collect all the MacGuffins in each stage. Your only real control is deciding when to grab onto a grapple point and when to get off it. And how close you are to it will affect your trajectory as you're leaving it. If you're very close, you'll gain a lot more momentum. If you're further away, you'll be far slower. And since you can't adjust rotation other than manually getting off it, it can lead to some challenge as you're trying to collect all the MacGuffins. As you collect things in each stage, you'll earn stars, which act as your kind of progression gate to unlock additional levels, and there are cosmetics to find as well. While it does start on the easier side, it can get demanding as levels get larger, and you start worrying to kind of point of no return points in each level if you're trying to collect everything in it. So while this may not be the most technically demanding game on the list, it's still a very charming one nonetheless. So if you're in the swinging mood, I would definitely give this one a try. And now we go to Primland the Magus. This is a challenging and dark action-adventure game that feels right out of kind of the TurboGrafx era of art and design. So, we are on an island where all the adults have murdered the children, and in turn they have been cursed to turn into monsters called carrions. In order to kind of solve what is happening and keep ourselves alive, we must explore this island and kill a whole lot of disturbing things in the process. Our gameplay here goes in a lot of interesting directions. You have your kind of normal attack, movement, and jump. You also have special moves that are tied to kind of the like flowing meter that you see in the upper left hand corner. Your different special moves will perform different tasks. You have one that will allow you to kind of just infinitely run, increasing your momentum and make you invulnerable. You have another move that lets you jump through objects, provided you activate while you're in the air next to an enemy. As you explore each level, you're looking for currency and mementos that you can then attach to kind of like this memento board that will unlock new abilities. So while there is progression, this is at least from this demo, a linear game, so you're not going to be returning to a previous level with new powers. It's more or less the powers are growing you from stage to stage. There's like special time trial challenges, boss fights, and some very not safe for work visuals and design in this one for sure. But still a very interesting take on the 2D platformer. So, if you don't mind some very disturbing behavior and looking for a challenging action-adventure, definitely give this one a play. We are now going under the sea for a Souls-like with Glaciered. It is many million years in the future, and there's no more humanity, and the entire Earth is submerged in water. And we play as a creature who's trying to save the seas from evil. And we are going to have to get into a lot of undersea fights to do so. So our gameplay here is going to be focused on combat. Now, of course, being underwater means you have full 360 degrees of motion to attack, move, shoot, and even kind of dodge/parry attacks. So, there's a lot going into this one. You can equip different wings, or like parts onto your left and right wings, allowing you to do different melee and range attacks. You have this like little like blubberfish who follows you around that acts as support, combat, and a handy flashlight when it gets dark. And you'll be able to upgrade your character, improving your stats, which will allow you to focus on different builds. Do you want to be more range focused, melee, some mix of the two, and so on and so forth. The art style here is really well done, and being like this underwater gives it a very different feel to the many different Souls-likes we have played over the years. Now, it is a little bit tricky in spots because of the full 360 degrees of motion. I did have some trouble sometimes gauging like depth of if I'm close enough to an enemy to hit them or not. And the camera can cause a little bit of trouble, especially when you're dealing with like some of the larger and more maneuverable enemies. With that said, it's still a very original take on the Souls-like design. So, if you're looking to do some Souls-liking under the sea, I would give this one a go, and I'm really looking forward to seeing when this game is released. We're leaving the sea for the forest with Heroes Against Time. This is a roguelike, where you must assemble a party to escape an ever-devouring fog and mysterious forest that threatens to consume you. The rules here is that each party member will have different perks or abilities. Some will gain power every time you get food, some may gain health for doing X, and you do not kind of control anything in terms of combat. It's all handled automatically. Your job is to figure out the best party to take and where to explore in the woods to survive. You have supplies that are consumed each time you move, and you can also gather supplies from specific kind of camp points on the map. However, every few turns, the fog will spread more and more and more. And if you're caught inside of it, you are dead. If you run out of supplies, you're dead. And if you go too fast and don't level up everyone by the end of the forest, surprise, surprise, you're dead. So you need to balance all this together to try and build the most optimized and powerful party to survive the forest. I like the art style in this one, and it can be a bit on the challenging side until you kind of figure out the best strategies or the best combinations of heroes. So I would give this one a recommendation for all the roguelike fans in the audience. We're continuing with our roguelikes with Rogue Eclipse. This is an arcade space fighting roguelike, as you are traveling from galaxy to galaxy trying to defeat the bad guys and not get blown up or shot into little tiny pieces. In this one, you have to be constantly managing dodging enemy attacks and trying to get in dealing with the small ships before targeting the subsystems on larger ships in order to deal with them. After each fight, you'll be able to choose for some basic upgrades to help you out. There is persistence in the form of unlocking new parts and new ships, but that kind of felt very late from our play. Now, as someone who is terrible at anything space flight, this one was a little bit challenging for me. I did have some trouble sometimes like knowing like why I'm being destroyed when like shots just come out of nowhere. Still, the game looks really nice, and if you're in the mood for some arcade space combat, I would definitely give this one a try. We now go to Jetrunner, and we're leaving the rogueliking for some good old time trial FPS. In the future, the hottest sport is this parkour shooting challenge, and we play as one such competitor who's trying to rise up in the ranks and prove herself as one of the best. Our kind of elements here is that you have an air dash and gun, and you can pick up special powers as you kind of run across the arena. Each stage you must get through it as quickly as you can, destroying all the targets, and you are given additional rewards based on how fast you do it. There's bonus things to find each stage, and this is again going to be for someone who likes time trial based FPSs. So if you played something like Neon White and you enjoyed that one, then you should be right at home here. The main thing for me is I'm just not a huge fan of kind of the time trial bonuses in games like this, so the demo didn't quite work for me in that respect. But if you enjoy running, and I mean really running and gunning through a variety of obstacle courses, then definitely give this one a play. We now go to Funny Raccoon Game. And I guess a simple way to describe this one would be, I guess, Cruelty Squad meets 3D platforming. You play a raccoon who's obsessed with gathering stuff. And you're going to be gathering stuff all over a very weird world. If you're wondering how much jank there is to this game, the answer is yes. As you're going to be exploring each level, finding upgrades, picking things up, and either deposit them in your dumpster for progression or use them in the myriad of very strange puzzles and situations. So this is definitely one for someone looking for a very off-the-wall 3D platformer. And if you don't mind a lot of weirdness to go with it, then I would give this one a try. But don't come crying to me if it weirds you out too much there. We're switching our styles with 3D platforming with Hirogami. This is a origami kind of paper aesthetic 3D platformer. You play a hero made out of paper who will have to bend, fold, and do some origami in order to save the land. The game itself is played through linear stages, and you're trying to collect as many MacGuffins as you can, while unlocking different origami forms, which become kind of your powers. You can transform into different creatures, which will let you do different things in the world, interact, solve puzzles, fight, etc, etc. And you'll be exploring a very beautiful set of places as well. I really do like the paper art style that Hirogami has going for it. Now, the platforming felt okay. This is not going to be a technical or very obstacle-based 3D platformer. If you've played any kind of third-party 3D platformer over the last 20-25 years, you should be very familiar with kind of the basics and structure. As a bit of an oddity, you cannot really have full control of the camera, so you are at the mercy of the game's setup in order to properly view enemies, jumping, and all that. Still a really great looking one, and I'm definitely interested in checking this one out more. So, this is going to be for the 3D platformer fans looking for another game to artistically jump around in. We're getting challenging now with Gurei. This is a boss rush focus action game, where you are trying to take on kind of like mythical spirits, and you'll have to decide the order in which to take them out, and how much pain you're going to have in the process. The rules are, your order that you choose will determine the order in which you get powerful upgrades, but the further along that you fight one of them, the harder the battle is going to be. The enemy will have either like more health, their patterns will be changed, it'll just be a nastier time, so you must once again pick, I guess, how much rope you want to use to hang yourself with in it. Now this one is a bit on the challenging side, even with the very powerful upgrades you get for defeating each character. A big part of this is how dodging works. This is not a game where you hit the button and you immediately dodge. There's a noticeable like quarter second of after hitting the button before the dodge is initiated. While that doesn't sound all that long, it can lead to you hitting the dodge button and you're hit by the enemy just before the actual dodging or the iframe part of the animation takes hold. And Hirogami killed a lot in this game. It's hard to tell from the demo, I guess, where the legs of this game is going to come in. Like, once you beat the game one time, is that it? Will there be replayability? That kind of thing. But if you are a fan of 2D action looking for a very challenging and, again, boss rush focused take on it, then I would give this one a try. And for the last game of today's part, we go to Away From Home, a gorgeous looking rhythm-based JRPG. You play a brother and sister who are out exploring a very strange world, meeting very unusual people, and then beating them up to the music. The combat system here is all rhythm-based. How this one works is that you must time your kind of defensive pushes to the enemy's beats, and then time your attacks to your own. Every perfect beat that you get will build up kind of your special meter, and at different thresholds you'll be able to unleash stronger attacks to hopefully deal with the enemies, and you will need that as the fights are very lengthy otherwise. Your normal attack doesn't really do all that much. You'll be able to find and acquire different special moves that you'll be able to equip, items that you can use, all while again exploring this very beautiful and interesting looking environment. Now, we didn't get a chance to go too far into this one, unfortunately. Again, we are at I don't even know how many parts in this series of Next Fest, so we really didn't get a chance to see too far into unique combat situations, gear, progression, that kind of thing. But this game definitely looks like there's a ton of potential for JRPG fans looking for another solid entry to check out, and we may have more rhythm games coming in some of the future parts. That is going to do it for this extra long part of our Next Fest coverage. Let me know what you think about these games down below, and we still have several more left to get to before this series is over. So with that, I will leave everyone for now, and see you all in the next part. Thanks for watching, and a special thank you to our Patreon supporters. If you enjoyed the video, do the YouTubing stuff, be sure to visit our Discord and Patreon, and if you're interested in more of my thoughts on design, check out my game design books.